Have you ever stared at your paycheck wondering whether you are completely missing something about managing money today? Maybe you scroll through social media seeing people your age achieving milestones that feel impossibly far from your current reality. They buy homes, take vacations, and drive cars worth more than your entire yearly income, while you compare grocery and gas prices. That quiet, uncomfortable question grows louder every month as your paycheck stretches thinner than it ever has before. If you feel behind financially even though you work hard daily, you are definitely not alone in America today. New data from 2025 shows that most Americans, regardless of income level, are desperately struggling to build meaningful savings. 66% of Americans now live paycheck to paycheck, according to the newest Lending Club Paycheck to Paycheck report. 74% of people earning under $50,000 report they cannot save even small, consistent amounts monthly. But here is where the numbers become truly shocking and break many assumptions people still believe about wealth today. 64% of households earning between $50,000 and $100,000 also live paycheck to paycheck continuously. And more than half of Americans earning up to $150,000 struggle, despite appearing financially comfortable outside. Even 32% of individuals making over $200,000 each year still feel financially stuck today. That income level sounds abundant and life-changing, but apparently it does not guarantee real savings or financial progress. My name is Max, and I spend an unreasonable amount of time studying why smart, hardworking Americans struggle financially. Today, I want to give you clarity by showing exactly how much of your paycheck you should actually save. But more importantly, I will show why saving feels impossible today and how ordinary people can finally gain control. Before we dive into specific numbers, let me ask a simple question. Many people get wrong immediately and consistently. When someone asks how much of your paycheck you should save, what number appears in your mind instantly? 10%, maybe 20%, or perhaps the same random number your parents casually mentioned when you were younger. Most Americans choose a savings percentage based on outdated advice that no longer fits the economic reality of 2025. The world has changed dramatically, and the financial pressure facing American households is unlike anything experienced decades ago. Housing costs have skyrocketed, reaching national median rents near levels many families simply cannot sustain long-term anymore. According to Zillow, the average one-bedroom rent nationwide has climbed to nearly $1,980 monthly. Credit card interest rates now average above 23%, placing millions of consumers in near-permanent financial quicksand. Buy now, pay later services encourage overspending by making purchases feel painless, while hiding long-term financial consequences. Inflation continues quietly reducing purchasing power despite wages rising too slowly to fully match increased living expenses. This combination creates a perfect storm where nearly everyone feels behind regardless of how much income they actually earn. And this leads to one powerful truth that most Americans never learned about saving, because nobody taught them. Saving money is a skill that must be trained, not a natural outcome of earning a higher income. The average American saves only 3 to 6% of their income, according to recent BEA savings rate data. Meanwhile, the top 1% of savers routinely save 38 to 42% of their income. The top 10% save 14 to 18%, while the bottom 90% save almost nothing consistently. This is why wealth inequality expands every year, because the real difference lies in habits, not income alone. Wealthy individuals understand that every dollar unspent today becomes a dollar working for them tomorrow and beyond. Savings are not about deprivation, but about empowering your future self to escape financial instability permanently. So, let's answer the question you came here for, because you deserve a clear, realistic savings target today. For most Americans, aiming to save 15 to 20% of your take-home pay is a strong, practical goal. If your income is higher than average, targeting 25 to 30% can dramatically accelerate long-term wealth. Now I know those numbers may feel unrealistic, especially if you already feel overwhelmed by current monthly expenses. But stay with me, because I will show a real updated budget that demonstrates exactly why saving feels impossible. Let's analyze a modern salary close to today's national median income, which now sits around $70,000. $70,000 yearly equals about $5,833 gross monthly before taxes and deductions. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and employer insurance, the realistic take-home amount drops significantly. Most Americans earning $70,000 take home around $4,450 monthly on average today. Before discussing savings, let's examine where that money realistically goes in an average month for many households. The national average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in 2025 sits around $1,982. Transportation costs are even worse because the average new car payment has reached $739 monthly. Gas prices add roughly $190, while utilities often average around $245 monthly. Groceries for a single adult now cost around $550, according to updated USDA 2025 food estimates. Eating out and takeout often add at least $320 more because convenience frequently replaces meal planning. Subscriptions, including streaming services, cloud storage, and app memberships, often total around $110 monthly today. Health insurance, dental insurance, and auto insurance combined frequently reach $450 for many American households. When you add every category together, the total monthly expenses reach $4,586. But remember, the average take-home pay was only $4,450 a month. That means a typical American earning $70,000 is already $136 in the negative. And this deficit happens before saving even a single dollar toward emergencies, investments, or future financial goals. This is the financial reality millions of Americans face today, and it explains why saving feels impossible. When real costs exceed income consistently, people begin believing saving is simply unrealistic or reserved for the wealthy. But believing saving is impossible is the very mindset that prevents people from escaping financial instability forever. The truth is that saving becomes possible only when you understand exactly where your money truly goes monthly. Most Americans underestimate their spending because purchases are spread across cards, subscriptions, and mindless convenience transactions. People rarely realize they're spending hundreds monthly on restaurants until they analyze their statements carefully. So let's examine how strategic adjustments can free significant money without feeling like extreme deprivation. Start with eating out because this category drains budgets faster than nearly any other lifestyle expense today. If you reduce eating out from $320 to $170 monthly, that saves immediately. Next, adjust groceries using simplified meal planning, which can reduce costs from $550 to $490. Now, review insurance bills and negotiate lower auto rates, which could realistically save $50 monthly. Subscriptions can be trimmed by canceling unused services, which usually returns around $40 monthly on average. And here's the biggest opportunity of all transportation costs because car payments consume enormous monthly cash flow. If you replace a $739 car payment with a reliable used vehicle payment, around $400, you immediately reclaim $339 monthly, which dramatically shifts your entire financial structure. When you combine all these adjustments, you free roughly $639 every month consistently. That is enough to start saving meaningfully even while managing the rising costs of living in America. Many people assume saving requires suffering, but often it only requires correcting silent overspending habits. Now let's shift from practical budgeting to understanding the psychology that stops most Americans from saving. One major issue is lifestyle inflation, where spending automatically increases whenever income rises even slightly. People upgrade apartments, purchase nicer cars, and expand conveniences, believing they deserve improved lifestyles immediately. But lifestyle upgrades rarely increase long-term happiness, and they almost always reduce financial stability. Humans are naturally wired for immediate gratification, meaning we prioritize now over later without realizing the consequences. This leads to future self-discounting, where people treat their future selves like strangers unworthy of protection. This explains why many people ignore retirement accounts, emergency funds, and long-term savings opportunities consistently. Decision fatigue also plays a major role because making thousands of daily choices drains willpower for financial discipline. By the end of the day, convenient spending wins because your brain simply wants relief from constant decision pressure. Another powerful influence is dopamine spending, where purchases create short bursts of pleasure that encourage repeated behavior. But these emotional spikes come with long-term financial downsides that accumulate quietly month after month. Understanding these psychological forces is essential because you cannot fix financial problems without understanding their roots. Wealthy individuals succeed not because they avoid temptation, but because they design systems that reduce temptation. They automate savings, remove decision fatigue, and create structures that support long-term goals effortlessly. Wealthy people view money as workers that must be assigned to productive tasks like growth and protection. Meanwhile, many Americans view money as something that must be spent quickly before unexpected costs appear. This difference in perspective creates dramatically different outcomes, even among people earning similar incomes. Now, let's revisit your savings goal with this new understanding and give it clear, actionable structure. Your first objective should always be building the habit, not achieving perfection or saving enormous amounts instantly. Creating an automatic transfer ensures saving happens consistently without requiring daily willpower or motivation. Even $50 transferred automatically can rewire your financial habits and create lasting momentum. Once saving becomes automatic, gradually increase the amount until you reach your long-term savings target. Small percentage increases feel painless, yet create major impact over months and years of consistent saving. This approach works because it bypasses emotional resistance and transforms saving into a predictable routine. Over time, your mindset shifts and you begin evaluating purchases based on their long-term opportunity cost. You stop asking whether you can afford something today and instead ask how it affects your future stability. This shift in thinking is one of the most powerful financial changes you can possibly experience today. Once you understand opportunity cost, you begin to recognize how every dollar carries future potential growth. A $28 meal is no longer just lunch, but a future investment opportunity you sacrifice. A $100 impulse purchase represents hundreds more in lost future value because of compound growth. Speaking of compound growth, let's discuss something wealthy individuals understand far better than most Americans. Saving money alone will not make you wealthy because inflation slowly erodes purchasing power each year. High-yield savings accounts offer helpful safety, but they cannot match long-term market growth consistently. This is why financially successful people invest regularly in simple, diversified portfolios, requiring minimal expertise. They rely on index funds, international exposure, and bonds rather than guessing which stocks might outperform. A basic three-fund portfolio often outperforms most actively managed strategies over long periods. Warren Buffett himself recommends simple, diversified investing for anyone without professional expertise or excessive time. Wealthy people understand the real power lies not in perfect timing, but in steady long-term participation. A 25-year-old investing $100 monthly can outperform a 40-year-old investing $300. This happens because time is more valuable than contribution size when it comes to compound growth. But investing becomes possible only after building a stable emergency fund to protect against unexpected costs. Emergency funds prevent financial disasters by covering necessary expenses without relying on high-interest debt. Unexpected expenses are not rare events, but predictable occurrences that happen to everyone eventually. Car repairs, medical bills, job interruptions, and family emergencies are guaranteed at some point. Most experts recommend building 3 to 6 months of essential expenses saved in a secure account. For many Americans, this may feel overwhelming, but the goal is achieved gradually over time. You can divide contributions between emergency savings and investments until your safety net is complete. Once the emergency fund is fully built, all freed funds can shift toward long-term investing. This approach provides stability, confidence, and a sense of control that reduces financial anxiety dramatically. When you are not worried about sudden expenses, you make clearer decisions and avoid emotional mistakes. You might negotiate better at work because financial fear no longer influences your daily choices. You might pursue higher-paying opportunities because your emergency fund supports calculated risk-taking. This is how financial momentum builds gradually, then accelerates once foundational habits become automatic. Now let's revisit the recommended savings percentages with more clarity and practical understanding. If you earn under $100,000, saving 15 to 20% is a strong target. If you earn between $100,000 and $200,000, aiming for 20 to 25% works. Individuals earning above $200,000 should target 25 to 30% for sustainable long-term growth. Remember, these targets are long-term goals, not immediate expectations forcing sudden, painful changes. What matters most is creating consistent progress instead of attempting unrealistic overnight transformation. Small improvements made consistently outperform dramatic changes that quickly collapse under pressure. The goal is not perfection, but predictable growth that strengthens your financial foundation steadily. Let's now discuss the emotional impact of gaining control over your financial life gradually. When saving becomes routine, your relationship with money transforms from fear into confidence. You stop dreading bank statements because you understand exactly where your money is going monthly. Financial stability allows you to think long-term rather than reacting to every short-term crisis. This shift creates emotional relief and reduces the constant stress many Americans feel daily. Money stops controlling your emotions once you demonstrate consistent control over your spending decisions. Saving becomes an empowering act that strengthens your sense of stability and personal agency. You no longer compare yourself to others because you understand your financial path clearly now. Suddenly, you begin seeing opportunities that felt invisible while you were stuck in survival mode. Building savings grants freedom choices and the ability to pursue goals without constant financial pressure. This is why saving matters not just for wealth, but for your emotional well-being today. Financial security is a form of mental security that reshapes how you view your entire life. The journey begins with one intentional decision to prioritize your future over impulsive spending today. Your future self will thank you for starting early, even if you begin with very small amounts. The most important step is committing today because delaying only strengthens the habits keeping you stuck. Delaying savings always feels harmless in the moment, but becomes devastating when viewed across many years. Every month without saving reduces future investment growth and increases long-term financial pressure significantly. Small habits built today compound into major advantages your future self deeply appreciates later. Many Americans underestimate how much financial stress is caused simply by lacking a clear money system. Systems remove guesswork and replace emotional decisions with predictable, stable routines that support long-term success. When you automate savings, you eliminate willpower battles that usually sabotage financial progress repeatedly. The goal is to make the right decisions easy and the wrong decisions inconvenient financially. This is the same strategy wealthy individuals use to maintain strong saving and investing habits effortlessly. Wealthy people do not rely on motivation, but rely on environments and systems designed for financial stability. The difference between struggling families and wealthy households often lies in structure, not intelligence or effort. Anyone can build a structured financial system regardless of income level or current savings rate. Start by setting a consistent savings percentage that feels challenging but achievable each month. Then automate transfers to ensure your chosen percentage leaves your checking account without hesitation. Next, track spending for a single month to identify categories silently draining your financial energy. Look especially at eating out, transportation costs, subscriptions, and impulsive convenience purchases that accumulate quickly. Adjusting these categories creates immediate breathing room that helps you reach savings goals faster. Once you eliminate unnecessary expenses, redirect those dollars to emergency savings or long-term investments automatically. Consistency matters far more than intensity, which means reliable habits outperform dramatic, short-lived changes. Even small sacrifices today unlock meaningful long-term freedom that benefits every area of your life. When you see your savings grow monthly, your confidence grows alongside your financial awareness and discipline. This momentum encourages additional progress because success becomes visible, measurable, and emotionally rewarding. Over time, you begin identifying money leaks instantly and correcting them before they cause real harm. Financial awareness turns into financial intelligence, which guides your decisions naturally without constant stress. Soon, you stop wondering how others afford their lifestyles and instead focus confidently on your own goals. You realize financial stability is not about luck, but about consistent, disciplined choices made quietly. Most wealthy people accumulated success slowly through unglamorous habits they repeated faithfully for decades. Their wealth did not come from viral moments, but from predictable, steady commitment to long-term growth. Anyone can follow the same path when they prioritize saving and investing with clear intention. Financial success begins with one simple internal shift: you decide to build wealth deliberately. Every paycheck becomes an opportunity to strengthen your future rather than repeat past mistakes. Even small savings percentages eventually build powerful results when combined with disciplined investing. Time and consistency become your greatest allies once you commit to a long-term strategy. This is why starting today matters far more than starting perfectly or waiting for ideal conditions. There will never be a perfect moment, but there is always a powerful moment called now. Saving becomes easier when you imagine conversations your future self might have because of today's decisions. Your future self might thank you for building stability or regret that you never truly began. Financial freedom is a conversation between who you are and who you want to become. Every dollar saved today strengthens that relationship and guides you toward a more secure reality. Saving gives you choices, options, and opportunities that are impossible when living paycheck to paycheck. Money stops being a source of stress once you develop systems supporting long-term financial safety. You deserve financial peace, and you deserve clarity about how to achieve it step by step. Remember, saving is not about restriction, but about directing money toward goals that genuinely matter. You are not behind. You are simply early in a journey many Americans never start properly. Your ability to change begins with believing small actions today compound into life-changing outcomes tomorrow. Start with $10 if necessary because habits matter far more than initial contribution amounts. Increase your savings gradually until reaching 15, 20, or even 30% of your income. Let compound growth work quietly in the background while you focus on living intentionally each day. Financial transformation happens slowly at first, then suddenly once discipline meets time and compound growth. Your future stability depends entirely on decisions you make with each paycheck starting right now. Choose wisely today because your future self will remember and appreciate every step you take.